Hello, Chatgpt. How are you? I have discussed some questions about this topic.
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. I hope you're doing well too. Absolutely. If you've got any questions or topics in mind that you want to dive into, just let me know and we can chat about them.
My first question is, what does the today my topic is about setting boundaries and staying true to yourself.
Got it. That's a great topic. So feel free to throw any questions my way and we can dive into how to establish healthy boundaries and stay authentic.
My first question is, what does it mean to set healthy boundaries in relationship?
Great question. Setting healthy boundaries in a relationship basically means defining clear limits about what is acceptable and what isn't, both for yourself and for others. It involves communicating your needs, protecting your well being, and ensuring mutual respect. It can also mean knowing when to say no and understanding your own limits and values.
My next question is, why is it important to maintain your identity while being in a relationship?
That's a really important point. Maintaining your identity in a relationship is crucial because it helps ensure that you remain true to yourself, your values, and your goals. It also supports a healthy balance, preventing feelings of resentment or loss of self. Plus, it fosters a more authentic and fulfilling connection with your partner as both individuals bring their true selves into the relationship.
How can you recognize when someone is crossing your emotional boundaries?
That's a great question. You can often recognize it when you start feeling discomfort, stress, or resentment. Other signs include feeling drained, anxious, or even guilty when someone pushes your limits. It can also show up as feeling like your own needs or opinions are being overlooked or dismissed. Paying attention to your emotions and reflecting on how you feel in certain situations can really help you identify those boundary crossings.
What are the signs that you need stronger boundaries with someone?
Some signs that you might need stronger boundaries include feeling consistently drained or overwhelmed after interactions, noticing that you often feel guilty or anxious about asserting your needs, or realizing that your own values and priorities are being compromised. Additionally, if you find yourself repeatedly accommodating someone else at the expense of your own well-being, that's a clear indicator. It's all about noticing patterns and being mindful of how you feel.
How can poor boundaries lead to stress, resentment, or emotional ex- exhaustion?
When boundaries are weak or poorly defined, it often means that your needs and limits aren't respected. This can lead to you constantly overextending yourself, taking on more than you can handle, and sacrificing your own well being. Over time, this imbalance can cause stress and burnout as you're constantly giving without replenishing your own emotional reserves. It can also build resentment as you may feel taken for granted or unappreciated. Ultimately, poor boundaries can erode your emotional health and strain relationships.
My next question is,
Absolutely.
what
Go ahead
are
with your
the
next question whenever you're ready.
different types of boundaries, emotional, physical, digital, in relationship?
Yes, definitely. Boundaries can come in various forms. Emotional boundaries involve protecting your feelings and maintaining a healthy level of emotional intimacy. Physical boundaries are about personal space and touch and making sure that you're comfortable with physical interactions. Digital boundaries focus on how you engage online, like setting limits on communication or social media usage. In relationships, all these types of boundaries work together to create a balanced and respectful dynamic.
My next question, about setting boundaries and staying true to yourself. The question is, how can you communicate your boundaries clearly without feeling guilty?
That's such a relatable question. One way to communicate boundaries clearly is to be direct, but also compassionate. It helps to use I statements like I feel or I need, which centers the conversation on your perspective. Also, being consistent and calm can really help reduce feelings of guilt. Remember that setting boundaries is an act of self care and respect, not just for yourself, but for the other person too. And it can help to practice beforehand so you feel me confident in this. Guilty when the time comes.
How can you communicate? What should you do if someone ignores or disrespects your boundaries?
If someone disregards or disrespects your boundaries, it's important to reinforce them calmly and assertively. You can restate your boundaries clearly and let them know how their behavior affects you. It's also helpful to set consequences if the behavior continues so that there's a clear understanding of the impact. And if the boundary violation persists, it might be necessary to limit or even end the relationship to protect your well-being. Ultimately, prioritizing your own mental and emotional health is key.
My next question about boundaries and staying true to yourself is what
Absolutely. Feel free to share your next question whenever you're ready, and I'm here to help with
how
it.
can cultural or family expectations influence your ability to set boundaries?
Absolutely. Cultural and family expectations can have a big impact on how we perceive and set boundaries. In some cultures or families, there might be strong expectations about obedience, putting others first, or maintaining certain roles, which can make it harder to assert personal boundaries. This might lead to feelings of guilt, fear of judgment, or even conflict. Navigating these influences often requires a balance of respect for cultural values and honoring your own needs. It can also help to have open conversations with family members or seek support from communities that understand and respect your perspective.
My next question about this topic is
Of course,
what
whenever you're
role
ready.
what role does self-awareness play in knowing with what boundaries you need?
Self awareness is absolutely key when it comes to setting boundaries. It helps you understand your own needs, your limits, and what makes you feel comfortable or uncomfortable. The more self aware you are, the easier it is to recognize when a boundary is being crossed and to communicate it effectively. It also empowers you to reflect on your values and to ensure that your boundaries align with who you are. Ultimately, self awareness acts as a foundation for healthy and meaningful boundaries.
How do healthy boundaries contribute to trust and respect in relationships?
Healthy boundaries really lay the groundwork for trust and respect because they create clear expectations and mutual understanding. When both parties know and respect each other's limits, it fosters a safe environment where people feel valued and heard. This mutual respect helps build trust over time because everyone feels safe to express themselves and know that their boundaries will be honored. Ultimately, healthy boundaries help maintain balance and harmony in relationships, making them more resilient and fulfilling.
My next question is, how can you practice being assertive, assertive, assertive while still being kind and respectful?
That's a great question. Being assertive while staying kind and respectful really comes down to clear and honest communication. You can use I statements to express your needs and feelings without blaming or criticizing others. It's also helpful to listen actively, show empathy, and acknowledge the other person's perspective by maintaining a calm tone and being open to dialogue. You can assert your boundaries without coming across as oppressive. It's really about balancing firmness with compassion.
My next question is, What are examples of unhealthy boundaries that can create dependency or control?
That's an important topic. Unhealthy boundaries can take different forms. For example, overly rigid boundaries might lead to isolation and difficulty in forming close connections, while overly porous boundaries can lead to dependency, where you rely too heavily on others for validation or identity. Another example is when someone consistently neglects their own needs to please others, creating an imbalance that can foster control or resentment. Similarly, when someone imposes their own needs and expectations on others without regard for those individuals' boundaries, it can create a dynamic of control and imbalance. Recognizing these patterns is the first step to creating healthier dynamics.
Thanks a lot, ChatGPT. You help us in questioning answering session today. Best of luck. Allah Hafiz.
You're very welcome. I'm glad I could help. Best of luck to you too, and Allah Hafiz.